Hello, everyone. Basically, with these Resi reviews, I'm going backwards instead of forwards. So, started with 6, and then I'm gonna basically work my way back. Now, I'm gonna try not to make these 40 minutes long, because I understand that that's a long time, and for somebody to actually take nearly an hour out of their time to watch a video, I'm asking for actually, not even a little too much. I'm asking for way too much. So I'll try to dumb this down, get to the general points, because the only reason I really wanted to go in depth with 6 was because of the controversy with its reviews basically running around. This one, not really so much a victim of controversy. It was basically critics loved it, fans were mixed about it. Although most of the older fans, like myself, you could count Necroscope as well. Although I'm not speaking for him, I'm just throwing him out as a general example. I suppose Kikoskia. I'm just naming people that hopefully my viewers are familiar with, because I pretty much associate myself with like more of Necroscope's and Kikoskia's kind of crowd. But anyway, this game was not bad by any means. There were a lot of silly moments, a lot of silly things, and a lot of things that were kind of dumb and dull. For example, the infamous Chris punching a rock. That I think that bit stands out as like a big. It's like that big pimple that just won't go away on this game's like complexion, basically. Because even when I was playing it for the first time, I thought, wait, why am I punching a boulder? I can understand running from a boulder. I can understand evading it, pushing it. Running on it, although that'd be kind of silly too. But punching it, even Chris in his steroid buffified form would break his fucking knuckles punching that thing. And he's not, I'm not talking like WWE fake punch. I mean, he's freaking going all UFC on that motherfucker. And it's part of the game that you have to do in order to save Sheva at the very end. But, to cover the general basics, this game does play a lot like Resident Evil 4. In fact, it's almost verbatim like 4. The only difference is the way the inventory is set up, which I actually like the way they set up the inventory, because everything's basically a quick get to. You have 9 slots, fair enough. And but in addition to that, your AI partner also has 9, so if you're playing single player, it's almost like you have 18. What you would want to do, though, is just maybe give her like the ammunition that you're not going to use, and then have her carry the healing items, because the one thing she is good at is healing you. Everything else she fucking fails at, but Capcom improved the AI with 6, so it's kind of a moot point to bitch about it. But I won't bitch about it, but I'll throw it out there that hey, back then, everybody remembers how bad the Sheva AI was, and so to go into the characteristics of the people in this game, Chris is now a member of the BSAA. He's hunting bioterrorism because since Umbrella's collapsed, all their products have gone to the black market, and all the world organizations of terrorists and criminals and such are now getting their hands on these bioweapons so they can use them to further their own goals. This one focuses on an infamous villain. Everybody knows him, Albert Wesker. Basically what he's doing is he's planning a whole world domination deal. But that you slowly begin to figure that out as you start from point A to point B and go forward. At first you think it's just a bunch of terrorists running around doing terroristic things, but it turns out it's more complex than that. So as the game progresses, you learn more and more about what's going on. And then Wesker in this, he comes off as a James Bond type villain. I mean, he's still epic, he's still awesome, he still looks fucking evil as shit, very badass, almost calm until his plans start to go. Gradually he starts losing his own sanity until the very end he just completely loses his lid. So you see calm Wesker, and then you see pissed off, angry, and insane Wesker by the end of the game. And then was it a good finish for Wesker? Yes, because he had been going on for a while. His story had been told, his rise to power was complete. Now it was just a matter of the good guys figuring out a way to bring him down. So I think the finale for him was done correctly, bar the part where Sheva was part of the whole delivering the final blow. I think Jill should have been a part of that, because I believe Jill had the exact same reasons, the exact same motivations to hate Wesker as Chris did, and I think Barry should have had a hand in it as well. But hey, you can't ask for can't ask for perfection from Capcom anymore. It's pretty much been a given since Resident Evil 4 came out. The enemies in this game, some of them are very kind of some of them are kind of good looking. Wow, no, that came out wrong. They look interesting. They look kind of not spooky, but like if you met this one face to face, yeah, I'd probably be scared out of my fucking mind. But the Majini, they're not scary. They're not intimidating. Like the Yavos in Resident Evil 6, they're complacent enemies that you have to draw out. And sometimes they'll go after you, but they'll run at you, and then they'll like close the distance by walking towards you. So it gives you plenty of time to cap in a headshot or two. The other enemy, there's one enemy in particular that I fucking hate, and that's that bug. I think it's, I don't even remember the name of it, but it has one move where it can instantly kill you if your health is at a certain point, and there is no escaping it. It's, once it has you, it fucking kills you. And there were points in time where I'm like, this game's hit detection's off, because I would be like maybe 10 feet from it and it would still do it. And that was the only enemy that ever really infuriated me. But some of the bosses in this game are fairly cool, minus the Ouroboros ones, because they all look the fucking same, minus the Ahiri, I think it's called. It's the one that Excella turns into. Speaking of Excella, I thought she was she was nothing more than eye candy, just someone to basically paint Wesker as like this sexy man that's got all the ambition, all the money, and all the power, and then she's all like begging for his dick in her mouth basically. And well, she doesn't get it. In fact, she gets screwed and gets killed by Wesker. But hey, that this is me, like, whatever, fuck it, I don't care. The one villain that really stood out to me as one of the best ones was Irving, and that's just because of his dialogue and his personality. I mean, he doesn't do anything interesting, but just the way he talks he sounds so badass. I think his big shining moment is when Sheva and Chris storm into like where he's hiding out, and he points his gun at them. They point their gun at him, and they're like, "Put your weapon down." He's like, "Oh yeah, well why don't you put yours down?" or something like that. And I was like, this guy is fucking awesome. He's outgunned and outmanned, and he could be killed right here and now, but he's still saying, "Fuck you guys, I ain't going nowhere." So I was like, all right, this guy wins. At least for that moment, he won. And then you have the boss fight with him, and I thought his boss monster shape was the best looking one. All the Ouroboros ones were just, it's just look for all the yellow spots, shoot those. Oh, enemy defeated. The gameplay itself was fine. It played off like Resident Evil 4, so there's really nothing to really hate on it in terms of gameplay, other than the environment's not really out to get you. You feel pretty much safe and secure at all times, especially when you have a co-op partner. Even if she doesn't know what the fuck she's doing, you still feel like everything's gonna be fine. You never have this sense of, oh shit, I'm almost out of bullets. Oh shit, I'm dying. I'm almost dead. No, because you can make your AI partner pretty much carry you through the game if you really wanted it to. And, you can always play it on the easier difficulties to get the hang of things, to understand how the game works, to know what you're going to face, and then take it on the harder difficulties to challenge yourself. Hey, that's what I did. And I beat it on professional with relative ease. I'll admit, I used unlimited ammo, but still, it didn't, mar the chances that the enemies can do a fuck ton of damage on professional. And trust me, even if you have, like, the full health upgrade from the yellow herbs, they still do a shit ton of damage to you. Especially the chainsaw guys, but they kill you instantly if they even touch you, so... kind of negates that. But there is one enemy in this game that I really hate that's in the movies, and that's the Executioner. In this game, I was okay with him because it's like, oh hey, we haven't seen that before. That's kind of cool looking. And then they throw him in the movies, and it made no sense for that fucker to be in the movies. They should have thrown in Tyrants if anything. But I'm not going to talk about the movie. I'm going to talk about the game here. Sheva as a character. As a character, I liked her up until the very end, and that's when she kind of... nothing about her really stood out to me. Nothing about her made her memorable, and I'm glad she's not in Resident Evil 6, because I honestly don't see what purpose she would have had in it. She had a purpose in this one, but she was only added in because people were bitching and moaning that this game was racist, because you have a white guy killing... black Magini, and that's because they're like, oh, it's a white guy killing black people, even though there was a diversity amongst the Magini in this. There were white ones, there were other colored ones, so I failed to see the argument there that they were throwing out there, and it's not like Capcom's racist. Well, at least their games aren't supposed to be racist anyway. But, I mean, the majority of the world pretty much recognize that, yeah, this guy's just bitching about it for nothing. I'm not going to throw his name out or anything. Fuck, I forgot it anyways. Chris's character is kind of dull, actually. Nothing about him really stood out to me other than he's lamenting over the fact that Jill is quote-unquote dead, even though you come to find out that she's just under the control of Wesker through this like little thing that he's using, to control the T-virus inside of her or some such like that. Which, I mean, I thought was kind of stupid, because it's supposed to give off this like, oh crap, you're Chris, you're fighting Jill, and you're scared that you're going to have to kill her or something, and it doesn't happen. It really doesn't. I don't feel this sense of like, oh crap, I might have to kill Jill here. Actually, when I do kill Jill and it says that she dies, it's like, oh, okay, so she's supposed to live. Way to give it away there, game. Gave it away just by me failing. Fucking, But Jill's blonde in this. I didn't have any comment about that. I didn't particularly care that she was blonde. It was like, okay, whatever. They changed her hair. Whoop-de-doo. But they made her into like this kung fu action person, and they actually do that with pretty much all of the characters, bar Excella, who's only good at shaking her titties and running away whenever trouble's near. Oh, and begging for Wesker's family jewels. But other than that, I thought this game was well done. I thought it was fun. I replayed it a few times. I got all the unlockables. I got most of the achievements from it. And overall, I had fun with it, even though I felt like this wasn't a Resident Evil game. I felt like I was playing James Bond with super mutant monsters in it. That was pretty much it. And this is the game that I also say that Chris should have really started to feel like he's, people are dying all around him. He's like, oh, what is it going to take, to actually win this fight against bioterrorism? What's it going to take to make the world realize that bioweapons are bad and all this other stuff? And then, that would have fit in well with his line. It's like, do I feel like it's worth fighting for? You're damn right I feel like it's worth fighting for. Instead of that line just coming out of the blue. But on top of that, I thought they should have thrown in Jill as like another AI partner. Like maybe you have Sheva up until a certain point, and then she goes off with that other guy, and then you have Jill for the climax of the game. That would have worked perfectly fine. Nobody would have been upset about it. In fact, more people probably would have been happy with that, but instead Jill's all, oh, I'm weak. Go on without me. I'll be fine. I mean, yeah, she does show up at the end with the other guy, and then, good things happen from there, but still, I thought she should have been a part of the actual defeat of Wesker, even though she was just kind of there, as opposed to really contributing to his demise. But to close this off, I'm going to say Resident Evil 5 is a good game. It was fun. I'm pretty sure most of you by now have tried it and played it, and those of you that liked it stuck with it. Those of you who didn't like it either traded it in, burned it, blew it up, fed it to your dog, whatever. But overall, I'm going to say it was a good game. Not Resident Evil good, but good. Oh yeah, it's also fair. It's famous. It's also infamous for the Chris being a steroid junkie. But thankfully, Resident Evil 6 fixed that. That was another thing it's infamous for. All this crap has to do with Chris, and it's all Capcom just screwing his character up. I just wow. But thankfully, they correct all that, and he doesn't do anything too ridiculous in the 6th game. So. What I'm hoping they'll do from, I see the first 3 as like the Raccoon City Incident trilogy, and then I see 4, 5, and 6 as like the bioterrorism trilogy, and Code Veronica's kind of standing off on its own as its own entity. So what I'm hoping they're going to do is like, okay, we made 1 through 3, that was more of the survival horror aspect, we made 4, 5, and 6, that's more of the action aspect. I want to see them go with the survival aspect. If they could incorporate the survival aspect with the monsters, with the action, they could make a fucking great game. Basically take what's best from both sets of games, because you don't really need, you can have action but incorporate survival aspects to it. Make it to where you have to think about what you're going to do before you do it, instead of you just brainlessly running in guns blazing. If you add complexity to that, your reviews are going to skyrocket. You'll still attract those fucking Call of Duty fans that you seem so obsessed with luring into your net of cash. And you'll also appeal to the old school Resident Evil fans to a degree. I mean, yeah, they won't say it's survival horror, but at least it's survival. Look at Left 4 Dead, look at Dead Island, look at Dead Rising, your own game, mind you, and then look at some other games that are like, doing this kind of deal where it's survival, and then there's a bit of horror, and then there's some action in it. You can have action as the main one, survival as the sub-main, and horror as the subtle underscore of the whole deal. Just create some moments of horror. That would be great. It doesn't have to be the whole atmospheric horror. It doesn't have to be that. Would I like that? Of course, but I'm trying to be compromising with the whole deal. And I doubt Capcom's even going to watch this video, even pay like a parsec of a minute to. Wow, that made no fucking sense. But even give my video an iota of thought. But hey, maybe it'll reach somebody that will reach somebody that will reach somebody. Basically, the word will start here and go forward from there. But that's just me making my appeal. So I'm going to go ahead and cut the video off because I've got my point across about the video or the game. So Resident Evil 5, did you like it? Did you hate it? Do you want to punch Capcom in the face? Or do you want to do all three? You loved it, hated it, but you still wanted to punch Capcom in the face. So anyway, folks, this is me, Luca Black, giving you Resident Evil 5 review. So, see you all soon.